Hey guys, AnnaFan97203 here. So, um, anyone who follows my Twitter will have seen me spazzing out a lot today about Fallout 76, what it is, what it could be, what it's about. And this video is going to give a little bit more in depth on my thoughts, I guess. So, yeah, I guess we'll dive right into it. Obviously, it takes place in Vault 76. Now, what a lot of you might not know, and what I kind of mentioned a little bit on Twitter, but not a whole lot, we know about this vault already. Like, we've heard about it in Fallout 3 and in Fallout 4. It was described as being in the greater DC area, and it was described as being a control vault. Now, first of all, we're going to start with the greater DC area quote. That tells it's somewhere around DC. Now, based on the song Country Road that was played, which mentions West Virginia a number of times, kind of hints at the fact that maybe we're looking at like eastern West Virginia, like northern Virginia, western Maryland kind of area, if you know where that is, which is just west of Washington, D.C., which, for those who don't know, Washington, D.C., that's the setting for Fallout 3. So we might be revisiting some places that we saw in Fallout 3, which could be kind of cool, except this time there's a twist. And that twist is the date, which we will get to in a little bit. But first I want to talk about the fact that this is a control vault. The control vaults in Fallout lore were designed to be exactly what they had actually been advertised as. When they were advertising the vaults, they said, we're going to seal all of you off in vaults for 20 years. We'll give you a GEC. 20 years after the bombs drop, everyone is to go out of their vaults and use the GEC to rebuild society. The GEC was essentially going to allow for proper plant growth, for purified water, for all of that, which was one of the reasons that it was featured so heavily in Fallout 2 and 3. So, keeping all that in mind, we have a vault that opened 20 years after the bombs dropped, with the idea of reclaiming the surrounding area, the greater DC area, and rebuilding what was left, which of course we see in the trailer. We see Reclamation Day has occurred, hence all the decorations and the fact that everything is kind of trashed, and it's been clear there was a party and then everyone left. Reclamation Day happened, everyone left the vault. We don't know what happened after that, but clearly they didn't come back, except maybe one person, who seems to be our protagonist. So obviously the vault opened 20 years after the bombs dropped, but as we can see in the beginning of the trailer on the Pip-Boy, it gives us a time and it gives us a date. And the date says it says 27th of October, 2102. 2102 is only 5 years after that 20-year mark. So it's 25 years after the bombs dropped. That's not a whole lot of time. At that point, the major factions in the Fallout universe, your NCR, your Brotherhood of Steel, your Institutes, your Railroads, your Legions, even the Enclave, weren't really up on their feet. The Institute and the Enclave existed, and the Brotherhood did too, but none of them were doing anything. They were just kind of figuring out what to do. I guess the Enclave was kind of experimenting a bit. The Institute probably would have been doing the same, but I mean, those are the only three major factions that even existed at that point. The Brotherhood, I'm not sure if they had their name at that point. I'd have to double check in the lore. They still would have all been military members from Mariposa Base. The Enclave still would have been the heads of the governments when the bombs dropped, and the Institute still would have been a bunch of scared college students hiding underground. The Railroad didn't exist, the Minutemen didn't exist, NCR didn't exist. Just nothing like that. The Legion, nothing. So this is going to be an interesting time period to explore, because there's nothing. And on top of the different factions, your super mutants, they didn't exist. They weren't a thing. It is possible that some super mutants were created in Vault 87 at this time, but they wouldn't have been a big issue like they are in Fallout 3. They were not being created at Mariposa yet, like in Fallout 1, and the Institute had not started meddling with them in Fallout 4. So potentially the greater DC area might have a couple of super mutants, but not many of them. And if anything, they're going to try and hide and kidnap more people before they do anything major. At this point in the timeline, you're really not looking at any big factions or big threats other than the wasteland itself. Just the radiation, I don't even think the Deathclaws would have been that far east at this point in time. Would have had some ghouls because of the radiation, so you're going to have ghouls to deal with. You're going to have your average raiders. At this point, 5 years after the vault's open, you'll have your raiders running around. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Ghouls and raiders, and some mutated animals like your rad scorpions and your bloatflies. But that's not a whole lot. It's not a whole lot at all. So this is a very interesting time period to look at. Meaning our protagonist here will most likely have a big impact on the lore of Fallout 3, which I'm assuming is going to be like written into the character themselves as to not mess with Fallout 3. But I don't know, we'll see. So this leaves us with a number of questions. First of all, I've heard a lot of people talking about how the trailer hints at co-op. Supposedly leaks have said that this game will have co-op. So maybe look forward to that, maybe don't. This game has already been stated that it's going to be very different. And it's rumored to also have a lot of base building, like Fallout 4 settlement mode. I see those as both being very likely, that this game will be its own unique thing, not like the other Fallout games, since it takes place so early in the timeline. And the base building makes sense, because there's nothing out there but rubble. You don't have your megatons, your rivet cities, your diamond cities, your shady sands, well, New Vegas would have been around, but not in the form that we see it. Your Necropolis, none of that. Junktown, none of it. Some of it would be beginning to form at best. A lot of it, not even. Your Rivet City kind of thing, that's still just a boat. That's all it's going to be for a long time, as far as this game is concerned. So I really think that the base building and this game feeling very different are both likely. In co-op mode, I don't know, we'll see. I'm interested. I've wanted a multiplayer Fallout for a while, but I don't know how this is going to be done, so I'm skeptical. One thing that I do want to mention that I have, as of yet, not seen anyone else mention is what happened to all the other people who left the vault. A lot of people are saying, oh, I wonder what happened to them, I'm excited to see. A lot of them died. I'm telling you right now, a lot of them died. During the trailer, you see throughout the vault, there's no signs of any armaments, oh, watch out when you go topside, there's going to be a lot of deadly shit up there. It's all, come on guys, let's get excited for Reclamation Day, and it's all like we're going to rebuild. Even the advertisement you see playing on the TV during the trailer, they talk about rebuilding the wasteland, not defending themselves and surviving in a hellhole. So, this kind of makes this makes me wonder, okay, so were they prepared? Did they know what they were walking into when they opened that vault door? Because I don't think they did. I think that they had no idea what they were getting into, and because of that, they would have lost a lot of people. A lot of people would have died. A lot of them would have gone mentally insane just by how fucked everything is. It would have driven them insane. I think a lot of your antagonists, a lot of your raider types, aren't necessarily going to be nobodies from who knows where. They might be people that you were living with just 5 years prior, before that vault door opened. Your neighbor, he might be the big warlord down the street, simply because he was driven mad by the wasteland and decided, no, rebuilding, it's not possible, so I'm just going to take what I can. So that's my little crackpot theory. One thing I do want to note, though, that I saw in the trailer. The Pip-Boy looks very strange. At first, I didn't realize what it was, but it was reminding me of Fallout 1 and 2, and I kept thinking, that reminds me of something from Fallout 1 and 2, but I can't put my finger on it. Well, I'm clearly extremely stupid. It's very similar to the Pip-Boys from Fallout 1 and 2, but this time it's wrist-mounted. For those of you who don't know, the Pip-Boys in Fallout 1 and 2 were more handheld devices, kind of like a tablet kind of thing, but Fallout, instead of a wrist-mounted object, like we see Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4. Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4, they are the Pip-Boy 3000, the wrist-mounted computer. But in Fallouts 1 and 2, they are the Pip-Boy 2000. This one seems to be another 2000 model, but this one's like wrist-mounted. I heard somebody throwing around the term Mark II. I don't know if that's canon or not, but it will be something along those lines. So yeah, this seems to me like this is going to be a bit more of a throwback to the original Fallout, where everything was about how tribal everyone was. Same with the second one. Instead of raider gangs and towns like you see in Bethesda Fallouts. And I think it's also going to be kind of country themed, taking place somewhere around the eastern section of West Virginia, just west of DC. I think this character will get involved in events that will help shape the Capital Wasteland for Fallout 3. And I think that there is going to be a lot of rebuilding, as the trailer talks about, in the form of base building, similar to what we saw in Fallout 4's settlement mode. And I also think that this game is going to be just as fucked up as the other Fallouts can be. I gotta say, I like how many items they have reincorporated in Fallout 4. And you would think it'd just be the base game items, but they have stuff from like Nuka World in there. So that's kind of cool. That this vault full of things from before the war has things referencing pre-war, I'm not going to say wonders, but large pre-war companies and structures. So that's kind of neat. So I mean, yeah, I'm excited to hear more about this at E3. I will most likely make follow-up videos to this. But I don't know. I gotta say, I'm very curious to see what this timeline is going, or where this section of the timeline is going to take us, and what the West Coast was doing. Which, actually, I just realized this. Bottle caps, not going to be in this game. Not going to be currency. That was something that was developed on the West Coast. In the lore of Fallout 1 and 2, bottle caps were used as a currency. Originally, they used water, like purified water. But then they started using bottle caps to represent it as like an IOU, similar to how we use currency, which is backed by gold, which, complicated there, but at one point we did. The US dollar was backed by gold, and so then the bottle caps were backed by water. But that started on the West Coast, by like, your San Francisco area, right? And that eventually made its way eastward by the time of Fallout 3, which makes sense after a couple hundred years. Plenty of people had traveled from west to east and east to west. So, alright, that's believable. But at this point, 25 years after the bombs fell, no, you're not going to have bottle caps as a trading item. So I'm curious to see how trading is going to turn out. That'll be interesting. There's a lot of really small little mechanics that are going to have to go out the window here. So I'm really excited to see how all that plays out. And what we're going to be fighting, what we're going to be doing, what our main story goal is, if there's going to be co-op, how much of the base building is going to affect everything. I mean, there's a lot to get excited about here. But I think I should probably wrap things up now. I don't really have anything else to say on this topic. If you guys have any ideas of your own, comment them down below. I would love to hear them. Oh my gosh, you don't even know. I'm just so thrilled at this game existing right now. You have no idea. When they announced Rage 2, just before they announced it, I heard Bethesda was going to announce something big, and I got excited. I'm like, oh my god, it's going to be an Elder Scrolls or a Fallout. Yes! Oh, I love them. And then it was like, oh no, it's Rage 2. And I don't care about Rage. I'm not going to say it's a bad game, but The Rage series does not draw me in. And so I was honestly to the point of not really caring too much about what Bethesda had to say, and then all this Fallout 67, Fallout 72 stuff started popping up on my Twitter, and yeah, I mean, it's just, oh, it's nuts. I'm so excited. So excited now. But yeah, so I will do my best to update you guys more and more as things progress, as new information comes out. Constant updates will be coming out on my Twitter. I might not be able to constantly post videos about it though, so if something new happens and it's not posted on here, check my Twitter. I know this is a shameless plug, but honestly on Twitter I will be talking about all of it. So if you don't see something that you want to hear on here, check my Twitter. I will most definitely have talked about it if it was announced or hinted at in any real legitimate way, not necessarily leaks. I don't like to talk too much about those because a lot of those are just so fake and so hard to prove. I'll focus more on what Bethesda themselves show off, hint at, say, or what previous Fallout games have shown off, hinted at, or said. But yeah, so that's pretty much all. Twitter link will be in the description below. But that's pretty much all I have to say about it for now. I'm so excited and so thrilled for the new Fallout game and for where this is going to take us in the future. I'm just so excited. I really am. And the 76 on my screen right now looks really good. It's like it's not perfectly clean gold foil on the back of that jumpsuit, but it's still not Wasteland-like. It's just not shiny new. Oh my god, I'm so excited. You don't know how excited I am. But yeah, so I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully another one of these types of videos will be coming soon with more announcements. But yeah, that's all for this video. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.